All right, guys, in today's video, we have yet another Xbox Series X and PS5 comparison coming from Digital Foundry. Now, this is not a massive comparison. Things have really slowed down recently. I'm sure many of you are aware of that. But they did compare Destiny 2, and this is an older game. This is a last-gen game. But I still continue to find it extremely ironic with the results we are continuing to see. Now, for those who've been following this, you'll know that for a little while now, we've been kind of seeing the PlayStation 5 have an edge in some areas for some games, to whereas that's not at all what the expectation was said to be, right? That's not the expectation that was set, and that's why it continues to be ironic. If you look back to 2020, which I know a lot of people don't want to do, understandably so. But if we do look back, you'll know that Microsoft's marketing has been just nothing but power. And I do find it kind of funny how quiet Microsoft is now on that front. They're not talking about power at all, which is wise of them because they would look extremely foolish. I'm sure they are aware of that at this point. But I put out a tweet yesterday where I was saying that this is another title, that being Destiny 2, where the PS5 has the edge over the Xbox Series X. And I seem to have upset a lot of Xbox fanboys by saying this because they wanted to remind me that it's actually kind of a wash here. Like, they're evenly matched because the Series X version of Destiny 2 actually offers slightly better resolution, while the PS5 version of Destiny 2 offers slightly better performance, a slightly smoother performance. And so, yeah, I will admit that, okay, maybe it's not a big edge that the PS5 has here, but I do think it does lend itself to a continued sense of irony that, frankly, I'm just eager to see how long this persists, right? Because we were told to expect a massive difference. And I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse here, but you know what? I'm going to continue to beat that dead horse because, frankly, there's just not much else going on right now. And this is pretty much the only thing that I've come across recently. And I think that we just need to kind of not forget, honestly, what was being said last year. And I will tell you, people will ask me all the time, dude, why do you care? Why are you still talking about this? Well, look, I'm in a different position, okay? I follow this stuff a lot. I've been following it for quite some time now. I followed it all through 2020. I just followed the entire ramp up and build up to these next-gen consoles. So the reason why I'm still paying attention to this is because I want to see the results. I spent all year last year listening to the Xbox fanboys telling me how superior the Series X was going to be. And look, I'm not saying that it's all Xbox fans, right? Just like it's not all PlayStation fans. And I know that there are people who look at this as like, oh, this is just console war nonsense, but it's like, not really. If you're somebody who cares about the stuff and you've been paying attention, it does make for some very interesting and frankly entertaining conversation from time to time. And I think this kind of falls into that category. I had to hear it all through last year, 12 T-flops, how the Series X is going to do this, and that over the PS5. And the PS5 is just, it's going to struggle to hold its own against this console. And I remember just kind of highly doubting this, right? It just seemed too far-fetched to me. I was like, look, I mean, I know that we like to talk about the T-flops, and I will admit I got caught up in that conversation for a little bit to the point where Microsoft even had me convinced, like, uh-oh, the T-flops do matter. But then, I started listening to people who knew more than I knew about the technical side of these things, and I learned very quickly that, wait, it turns out the T-flops don't matter. Anyway, I'm ranting right now, but I do want to read this quote from Digital Foundry. Okay, and I want you to understand that when I read this, there is a sense of irony here, okay? The PS5 is not just completely stomping the Series X. However, that's not the ironic part, okay? The ironic part is the fact that the Series X is not completely stomping the PS5 as we were told it would. And it's even better knowing that this is a last-gen game. So it says, image quality comparisons between PS5 and Series X reveal that Bungie has set a visual bar for the consoles that it doesn't intend to deviate from. The games are effectively identical, with the PS5 showing only a slightly higher frequency of resolution drops under 4K. In fact, evidence does seem to point towards the Microsoft machine not using DRS much, if at all. 60 FPS performance is generally excellent on the Series X as well, but it does have some minor frame drops from the target 60 FPS, while the PlayStation 5 is slightly more consistent in this area. In short, a touch more clarity on Xbox, but a very occasionally smoother ride on Sony's machine. So do you see what I'm saying here? I mean, it's bad enough that when we look back towards December and even, late November of 2020, we were just seeing these comparisons come out where the Series X, frankly, just failed to do its job. It just failed to do its job. Microsoft really spent so much time kind of boasting this console, as well as the fanboys. They really rallied behind that shallow marketing. And in my opinion, it's very obviously shallow marketing. I wouldn't be saying that if we were sitting here looking at a massive difference. But I'm just getting, I don't want to say attacked. Okay, that's not the right word. I'm not getting attacked. But I do see a lot of Xbox fanboys kind of coming at me, getting very upset that I'm out here saying, oh, the PS5 has the edge. And it's like, okay, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe the PS5 doesn't have an edge per se in this case, and they are mostly identical. The Series X has the resolution bump, and the PS5 has the performance bump, and that's great. But again, I just feel the need to kind of remind everybody, because that's the thing that surprises me the most, is people just forget so quickly, or they just act as if it wasn't a thing. And I guess it's just a little bit more difficult for me to do that, because no, it very much was a thing. I can tell you that for certain, because I spent all last year covering these consoles and dealing with all of just this rhetoric, all of the stuff that had to be said about how much better the Series X was going to be. And a lot of people, really kind of tried to clown me for having this opinion that I think the PS5 is going to be perfectly fine. I think the PS5 has the potential to hold its own against the Series X, and I really don't expect there to be a difference. And I remember that shortly before these consoles released, I made it clear that, look, at this point, just to cover myself, just to kind of make everything as easy as it can be, I said, fine, maybe there will be a difference. At this point, I'm just going to believe what Microsoft told me. What Microsoft told me is there will be a difference between these consoles because of the power difference, because of the 12 T-flops, and this is what all the fanboys are telling me. This is what I'm constantly hearing. Anytime I talked about the PlayStation 5 specifications, this is all I heard about. And so I just said, fine. I'm assuming that Microsoft is correct. They certainly would not be coming out here saying this if it wasn't true. And so that's my expectation. And then the console's released. We're seeing multiple games where the PS5 actually has the slight edge, or they're just completely identical. And now we are continuing to see that. So Destiny 2 is certainly not the most exciting game to be comparing here. And yes, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm not trying to tell you it's a big deal. It's Destiny 2. However, it's all we have right now. And it's going to be incredibly interesting to see how this conversation continues to unfold throughout this year. Because now what we're being told is, oh, well, developers just need time. They just need time to unlock the full power of the Series X, which, okay, maybe that's a possibility, but is that really where we're going right now? We're going to move the goalposts like that? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm innocent and I've never moved the goalposts myself. We all have to move the goalposts at certain times. But there does come a time where you just have to call it for what it is. And in this case, this is extremely ironic. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I just made this because, a lot of people just seemingly were very upset and very quick to let me know that I'm completely wrong about what I'm saying, and that I'm just making myself look foolish, and I'm just, making myself sound really dumb. And I'm like, okay, fine. I take it back. Maybe there's no edge that the PS5 has, but come on. Like, are we really going to sit here and act like that, the Xbox fanboys, or not even just the fanboys, right? Just anybody who was excited for the Xbox Series X, and anybody who, frankly, just bought into Microsoft's marketing, are we going to act like they weren't made to look like fools in the end? Because I think they were. And I think that honestly just kind of sucks for them, right? It really does, because I've been there before. I have been there before, and it sucks because it's like you want that to be something that's true. If Microsoft's telling you we're making the world's most powerful console and 12 T-flops of power is going to matter and there's going to be a big difference, and you can rest assured that if you're investing in this console and you're paying $500 for the Series X and you're choosing to avoid the PS5 as well as all PS5 exclusives for whatever reason, you can rest assured you're going to have the best experience with multi-plat games. And it's like, this is the best experience, having a slightly higher resolution while the competition has a slightly higher frame rate. That's the best experience. That's the big performance delta that I was told to expect. Yeah, no, I'm not buying that. I'm still not buying it. And, you know, it would be great if at some point we do see a massive difference, but I'm just not sure that we're ever going to. We may. It's still early on, but I don't know, man. There just seems to be a group of people who think that as time goes on and developers become more familiar with the Series X and they're able to unlock more with the Series X, that the same isn't going to happen with the PS5. But in reality, the same is going to happen to the PS5, and we're most likely going to continue to see this trend. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And that is the most ironic thing in the world, in my opinion. I mean, maybe not the most ironic thing in the world, but at least for me and what I talk about here on the channel. Anyway, that's going to do it for the video. It turned out a little bit longer than I wanted it to, a little bit ranty, but be sure to leave it a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.